Good science, by definition, allows for more than one opinion. Otherwise, you merely have the will of one man, which is the basis of cult.
If it's not in frame, it doesn't exist.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you?
Where you been?
Drunk. Wendy? Darling? Light of my life.
What is your one purpose in life?
To explode, of course. I like death with sex. How about you, Casey? You like sex with death?
Yeah, so fuck up and die.
I've got the clap.
That's how I'm starting it right there. It's good thing your girlfriend don't listen to this show. Am I right?
I know. Am I right? Good thing Sharon Stone doesn't listen to this show.
Wow, you're getting right in. This is the Cult of Cinema Knowledge podcast. I'm Levi. That's Jordan.
Hey, what's up? Actually, if Sharon Stone does watch this, or listen, that'd be fantastic.
Can you imagine?
You can go to our YouTube too.
Can you imagine Sharon Stone, please?
Well, I'm right off the top. Before you even get deep into this, deep in the thick of it, she's phenomenal in this movie, and so now I really want to go see. I can't think of anything else she's in except she's in Total Recall. Don't remember her fucking at all, but we did that movie, so go listen to that podcast.
Right, exactly. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to look it up because I know.
Like, dude, spoiler alert, but she stole the show.
100%.
And literally not in like a sexual way. Like clearly,
No,
I guess that really coming out.
Yeah,
a little horny on that, but I'm not.
Michael Douglas did pretty good, but she chewed it up, dude.
I just feel like he did his classic thing. He just showed up.
He had a couple intense moments, but we'll get
right. Okay.
So everybody calm down.
Alrighty.
All right. We're talking
worked up, man.
We're talking about 1992's Basic Instinct with the classic. See, Sharon Stone, Michael Douglas. I didn't know anything about this movie going in, other than I know generally the vibe, the early '90s erotic thriller. I knew Michael Douglas, I knew Sharon Stone, but everything I know was from the meme of Sharon Stone flashing her crotch, and then they talk about it in Scream. You know that there's always these pop culture references to it.
Yeah,
and that's all I knew, and I didn't even know it was Paul Verhoeven.
And it's really. Yeah, both of us, when we were like, oh, it's Paul Verhoeven, we're like,
it made me
holy shit,
so much more juiced up
and
for
that,
it.
And that explained why the hyper-violence
is on fucking point.
Dude, I was like, that opening scene, this is a spoiler podcast, by the way, for everybody out there listening.
We're going to spoil the shit out of it.
We talk about every movie ever we talk about, we just talk about whatever. We go full bore, baby. But that ice pick was like a fucking machete, dude. I loved it.
It was brutal. It was so brutal. It goes through his nose. They did they built a whole prosthetic head for one shot.
Dude,
of just stabbing through the face. It was,
and it's so real, dude. We got to talk about how realistic it is. Anyways, can you please read a synopsis for the human beings out there?
I have to find one.
I see.
I'm a waste of space.
Dad duties, huh? You didn't have time to write in between.
I didn't
bouncing babies on.
It's not even that, because I actually been getting way more organized. I have a cute little planner.
I have noticed.
I have a planner over here with what I need to do each day and what I need to accomplish per week of so I don't lose track of the show and my other various creative endeavors.
You did get disgracefully fired from your job, so now you have no job.
I know. I just office spaced it. I just said I'm just not gonna go anymore.
Yeah. But no, dude. Congratulations on transitioning to a different avenue.
Yeah. I thought you said I was gonna become a woman.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's great.
So yeah, thank you, man. I'm excited. So, but I didn't write it down in my planner because I had my laptop out earlier today. I posted on the Reddit. I went back and I wrote my letterbox and I responded to all the people because I haven't wrote a review on the Reddit page in a while. So I did that today and I was like, cool, I did all that. And I was gonna write a synopsis when I had my laptop out, but I forgot. So let's I'm gonna just pick one at random from IMDb and see what we get, okay? Former rock star is brutally killed during sex, and the case assigned to Detective Nick Curran of the San Francisco PD. During the investigation, Nick meets Catherine Trammell, a crime novelist who was Boz's girlfriend when he died. Catherine proves to be very clever and a manipulative woman, and though Nick is more or less convinced that she murdered Boz, he is unable to find any evidence. Later, whoops, my screen blacked out. Later, when Nilsson, Nick's rival in the police, is killed, Nick suspects of Catherine's involvement in it. He then starts to play a dangerous, lust-filled mind game with Catherine to nail her, but as the relationship progresses, the body count rises, and contradicting evidence force Nick to start questioning his own suspicions about Catherine's guilt. Okay, just to take it a little bit further, so that you know what we're talking about. There's a lot of twists and turns in this movie. So during the third act, they push the attention towards his lover / psychiatrist that's his friend, kind of starts becoming the prime suspect for the viewer as well.
When did you call that, dude? I literally straight up,
the first
right
time
at the
I saw her. Yeah.
First time I saw her, first time they were like talking. Because it's funny, because the first time I saw her, I went, oh, she kind of looks like the woman that was on the bed.
You purposely don't get a good look. But
dude,
I literally was like,
sorry. Yeah, you continue your thing, and we'll talk about that because it worked perfect. Yeah.
No, that's fine. That's pretty much it because it goes towards her.
Right.
It ends in the climax where Michael Douglas's what's his name, Nikki's partner gets killed, and he suspects the doctor, the cat, whatever her name is, and so he shoots her, and he thinks that okay, it's all tied up, and they find all this evidence in her apartment, and it's all tied up. But then he goes and bangs Sharon Stone again, and there's an ice pick under the bed. Dun dun dun. Ends on the ice pick.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, she was the killer all along, and she almost was gonna kill him or whatever. Which is fine. But
I mean, fucking no. It's like blended so many like old school tropes like that. The score for that reveal and the score throughout had a lot of that. Like a lot of times where like, especially when like she's on top, and it's like a sex scene, and then her hand comes up and it like cuts off the corner of the camera, and then she comes down and the music like goes, and then she's just laying on top of him. It's all those fake outs and the music cues that reminisce of like old school 50s and 60s style. Yeah. Like, dude, this felt like
this is a neo-noir 100%.
This right. And this felt like, honestly, I now understand why Vertigo would be considered such a thriller, because honestly, it is like a carbon copy. This and Vertigo feel very similar, just clearly not as hypersexual as the 50s would allow. Or it's it was pretty like the 50s in Vertigo was pretty saucy.
Yeah.
Right. Like he has like this fucking woman in his house that
it's funny.
stripped her naked.
I was saying to Mary the whole time. I was like, it's funny we just watched Vertigo because this movie obviously pays a tribute to it. Right. Just from because I'm like, oh, they could be set in the same universe, same timeline. Like
it's San Francisco.
San Francisco. There's just several shots looking down the. There's like the staircase shot. Like it definitely feels
that love triangle where like the guy gets swept up into it, and like
they literally could have called this like Vertigo 2. Like it's a different plot entirely, but it's like it's all the same recipe. You know what I mean? It definitely feels...
It's like the series True Detective or something. It's like that. But like it's just following a different detective now.
Shares a lot of things.
Yeah,
well, and obviously this one they're like, how sexy can we be? We're gonna push it to the limit. Right. We're gonna talk about jacking off in every scene. And
it's I know
there's cum all over the place.
Dude, in my notes in big letters I wrote cum vision, dude. Amazing. That cum vision was hilarious. Like, and it was like it actually like it's almost like a futuristic detail. Like Verhoeven, however you say his name, Paul Verhoeven. He with like RoboCop and like his sci-fi influence and stuff. It was kind of cool to see that. Like, I'm like, I don't think that existed, or at least I don't think it was like to the capacity that they had it, where like he put on those like red goggles and then they had the light and it was just showed cum. Like it just showed cum stains, nothing else. I was just like, fuck yeah, dude. Well, it was kind of a cool touch.
It was cool. When I first saw it too, for a second I was like, oh, that's a big clue. Like she only got off when she like murdered the crap out of him. That's all hers. You know,
Right.
they're all her ejaculant, if you will. And it wasn't, but I was just for a minute there. I got pretty excited about that because
Right.
you really
You
don't
thought maybe
see. Because that's the thing about this movie. Moving on a little bit. This is the thing about this movie. It's got such a great, like, you don't see a really cunning, especially in this genre, like female villain very often that does it in this way where it's just like so outwardly bold and aggressive and stuff. And so I really, because obviously
she's confident even if she didn't fuck. She just likes having sex, but she doesn't need to. She totally would be like, she'd be just as intimidating.
Yeah.
Without using her like sexual prowess, if you will.
100%. I mean, she's a badass. She's has
Right.
2 master's degrees, they say, and is an accomplished writer and a multimillionaire. And
she's friends with murderers too.
and very highly suspected of a brutal murder. And so the whole time you're like, God damn, this chick is hardcore. She does not like, I don't know. I really like that since this obviously played on a lot of noir tropes, like it is a noir film. I like that it kind of had like almost the anti-femme fatale, where it's just like, it was almost kind of the opposite, where it's like she's the most obvious suspect. She's like super hardcore, but it's just about finding the evidence. Because I didn't really doubt it. It was just my doubt for her being the killer slowly drained away. Because at the beginning you're like, oh, she's 100% the killer. It's just how they gonna find out. You know what I mean? And then slowly as you got to know her, and kind of the blame shifted it. But then it did a 180 at the end. But
right.
It's just interesting how it kind of like flip flopped the genre conventions with that.
I thought it was amazing. Is this your first time seeing it? Right?
Oh yeah, this is both our first.
We both didn't. Yeah, we both didn't know. I didn't really. Yeah, I didn't know anything out of it. But dude, that interrogation room is so sick. Like I love. It looks. Dude, it's like whatever Paul Verhoeven's doing with his like set design. It's amazing. I love it. I love everything he does. It's like it's so cool to finally see this. Like.
I want to
now knowing
go watch his whole filmography because I've seen quite a bit of it, but I'm just like, there's a lot of movies of his now that I'm like, I need to go go back and watch.
Yeah, there's so much I haven't seen, dude. But he in an interview I was watching, he straight up, he's like, I'm Dutch, so like, he grew up, he like was in the film industry in Dutchland doing like hypersexual movies then. And so I feel like he like probably, I'm sure like some of his older stuff,
his movies,
from the 70s,
his movies
80s,
are fucking horny. He did
horny, yeah. But I think that he kind of like I wonder if his older ones are more like more shallow, if you will, and like as he got older, he kind of could hone in that like using because he uses like sex as a weapon in this movie, and so it like very very
I don't remember. I don't remember like for sure, but I feel like I read like an interview or something where he was like saying like, because he kind of like left the Hollywood sphere, some years back. Like I don't think he's made movies back in his homeland. See, now I'm trying to look it up and I'm like, my phone's having issues. But
the latest or anyways.
But I feel like I remember him saying something like, it's like, oh, it's too prudish here or whatever. Like I'm getting out of Hollywood.
Oh.
Like, I got to go do my own, like, sexy thing because I always am fighting with, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, he seems like an interesting guy. Because I do remember, and I don't know if this is totally true or not, but I remember hearing something about Starship Troopers where there's the scene where they're all naked in the shower or whatever. Right, and then it's like he also just got naked with everyone, like, on set. Just to like, I don't know if that's true, but I can see it, dude. I can see it.
Well, I highly doubt it because he, I don't know. I guess this is kind of it's a little bit of like, you said, she said, but Sharon Stone was like kind of frustrated with like the transparency of that scene, the infamous scene in this movie that we're watching now called Basic Instinct, and they were full transparent. There was only like 3 people on set when they shot it, and like she knew about it, and so it's unfortunate because like later because she signed a contract and she was like, you know, complicit, I guess is like a harsh word, but we're gonna use it. And she like knew what was gonna happen, and she even saw it in Video Village when they shot it, and they shot it with no one else in the room. And so it's kind of one of those like, and I think just later
Was it like that for a lot of the other scenes? Because I honestly found that scene to be like some of the least graphic.
Exactly, and I think it's just like, but I think that's also kind of part of it too. Is it like it was like one of the first like, it seems almost more hypersexual than the sex scenes, because they talk about sex scenes are like choreographed, and it's like very, you know, it's very routine. It doesn't feel like super intimate, and I think just having her, you know, sitting by herself and like doing that performance, she's like basically on center stage, you know, it's gonna be wide. But like later there was a lot of pressure through her agents and stuff, and so it's kind of interesting. They are on good terms, and there was never like any.
Well, I did hear recently. I didn't read the article because I hadn't watched the movie yet, and I didn't want to spoil anything. But I remember when I was looking up last week, because I just watched it yesterday. So when I was looking up last week about the movie, they're doing like the Blu-ray just came out, the fucking 30th anniversary, right? 30th anniversary, 92 just came out, and it's like they have like a director's cut that's slightly different apparently, and Sharon Stone's kind of, I don't know if she is or her agents are, they're like pissed off about it because it's probably using unseen footage that it was like has more nudity that she didn't necessarily come to terms with within the final cut or something. So, and with the movie was so much nudity too.
It really. Oh, and Sharon Stone just released an autobiography last year too.
Oh, really?
In an interview, she was talking about that, and in the autobiography, she discusses it a little bit, and how she, you know, her side of it, and it's like I mean, I trust her, and it's really valid, and like I don't know. I hope that they one day. It's weird because they're on good terms. It's not like she's accusing him of anything or anything, and it's like part of her thing. It's interesting. I guess my point is, the film industry can be very intense and, you know, really like predatorial, and so I hope that Paul Verhoeven is not a creep on set. Like I hope he talks about how he is, and I just hope that like that power dynamic works.
I definitely get the vibe that like
I would hope, because he says he's very like,
he definitely says it's like a cultural difference, like he's just like, I'm just open about sex, why is it everyone like wigging out about it, you know what I mean? And I could definitely, because all his movies are pretty sexual, sexual.
But dude, going back to your thing, the Blu-ray with the extended, they shot like there's so much more footage of the sex scenes because he wasn't sure what he could get away with. So there is a lot more graphic stuff and less graphic, more just shoot arounds and stuff. So I'm like, kind of be interesting. I don't know. I've gone on this podcast before and I've said that I don't like sex scenes. I think they're kind of boring in a movie, and I think for most part they like, because 90% of the sex scenes in this movie I thought were kind of boring, but that one with Michael Douglas to show his performance, and they're like, when he like rapes the psychologist, dude, it took me by surprise. Because at first it's like, I was like, oh, that's aggressive, and then I was like, whoa, okay, and now like I'm like, oh, this is like, it's gonna be aggressive, and then build sensual, and they're gonna enjoy it, and then he just fucking rapes her, and I was like, holy shit, dude. I was like not expecting that at all.
No, I was literally saying to Mary, I was like, wow, man, she really fucking got under his skin, apparently. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't know, dude. It didn't take long for him. He's like, I'm quit drinking. I quit smoking. I'm a good boy. And then it was like,
and then he just flipped
after like meeting her. He's like, I want to double. I'm smoking. I'm gonna fucking rape my girlfriend. Like, I'm just like, Jesus Christ, man.
And I love it. This is one of the first movies I've ever seen where, like, everyone's the bad guy. the only like quote unquote good guy in this got killed. It's almost like this is, so whenever we talk about movies and I'm like, what's a good movie where the bad guy wins? This is it. This is my one. It like nobody is a good person in this movie. No. Everyone's terrible, and they all get to live.
And she,
yeah,
exactly. It's like dude. The bad guy gets exactly what they wanted.
Right. It's like no redemption. I kind of like that.
She gets 100% away with everything, and it's just like, because it's like, you know, that's what's so great about it. It's she starts off like this super powerful, super meticulous, fucking badass chick that likes to fuck, is like her whole, like, she does all this, and a suspected killer, and has all these bodies in her past too. She's super suspect. But then, like, you know, then you, as you go along, you see like more of her vulnerabilities. She's like becomes less of a more of a not this hardened shell that she projects, but you see like the other side of her a little bit more, and you start to question, just like Michael Douglas's character, like maybe she's not the killer after all. Especially all the while the filmmaking and the plot is directing your attention towards the other gal, which then you later pretty much just find out it's all her just getting framed anyway.
Right.
It's pretty on point. I do only, so my biggest gripe about this movie.
Okay, yeah. I have one too, but
is the very, well, I have a couple, but my biggest one is the very, very ending. Because as much as I liked, and it totally was on brand for the type of like this movie was like, knows when to like just push up against the edges of being like kind of schlocky, kind of cheesy, just a little bit. Like it's taken seriously, but it's kind of
I think that's Paul Verhoeven's style.
100%. He goes right. He goes right up to the edge of like almost melodrama,
satirical. Yeah, right.
And so, which is fine. At first, I was kind of put off by it, but once I kind of got the vibe, especially it's like the noir vibes. It's like the fast talking, fast cut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the very, very end, where it's just like it pans down under the bed, and the ice pick is there, and it's like, oh, she would have been reaching for it because that was the second time there was a fake out.
Right.
And you're like, oh my God, it was her the whole time. She was the killer, which is a great kind of twist how it comes back around where it's just like, oh, like it just puts everything back in perspective. But I'm like, what was the plan? What was her plan there? She's like I don't know. It's just like just the ice pick. Like I feel like there was a different way. I wish they would have revealed it kind of. Because I don't know. Like it's just like for someone who's so meticulous and stuff, it's like I feel like they're like, how do we quickly end on a high? Of like having it be this huge twist, or like here's the revelation. Here's the ice pick. They did the
huge fake out too, dude. They did the she reaches for the mattress, which is fucking weird. What the fuck was she doing? Like getting some Xanax or something? Like I don't understand why she was reaching there. Besides that, she comes out, they do the fake out, and then it goes to black.
Yeah.
And you're expecting credits, and then it comes back up, and then it goes to the reveal. And like I like that, but it also, I don't know. I get what you're saying.
It's just like,
dude, no, they should have just gone to a Kmart receipt that said,
it feels like they need
5 ice picks. And
there should have been one, something, if it wasn't him knowing, him finding out some way, because it's like, I don't know, it's like the ice pick's her calling card, like what, like she was going to just stab him to death, she just keeps the ice pick under the bed for the viewing audience, like it just seemed like out of character, and just it seemed like an easy way to reveal everything, but doesn't really fit in with like the plot or character development for me.
I bet you probably would have just liked, it would have been better if she grabbed the ice pick from under the bed, like grabbed it out of the mattress, and then Michael Douglas went on top of her and like kissed her and was like, I got a good feeling about this or something.
Well, even then, it's it's weird how much it's...
Where she plans to do it then. Because the fact that she has it there, I'm like, does she plan on doing it right then?
Yeah.
But she'll get away with it too.
I know, but even so, it's like, does that necessarily mean she masterminded the whole thing, or she just loves ice picks? Because it shows the whole time that she does. She fucking chops the shit. Like she specifically manhandles an ice pick many times throughout the movie to show that like I have nothing to hide. You know what I mean? And it's like to also be invocative of like, you know, sexually provocative, and also like remember how violent and visceral the opening scene was.
And I love how he says that, like, I can't remember word for word, but he's something like, oh man, you're really showing that ice, you know, something, or he like it's like
he does.
It's well written. He's like, oh, you got something against that ice or something.
I know the way he stabs the ice is like one of those infomercials where it's like, do you ever have a problem picking your ice? He's like, oh no.
No. Okay, and can I ask you this real quick? Have you ever once in your life needed an ice pick?
I want to now, man.
No, I don't understand. Is it like 90s ice? Did it just come in a block?
Ice
when
cube
I was a child, we had
trays are
ice
dead.
trays.
No, ice trays
cube
are
trays.
Ice
understand.
trays are for buttholes, because you do. You just get a bag and you fill it with fucking water. You put it in the freezer. Then you got a big old blob of ice, and then you just pick it to death when it comes out.
Did you see how negligent they were to fucking they would stab ice, and it literally would
everywhere.
I'm just like, do you
Their
know how many
apartment's
little
like
puddles?
soaking wet.
You know how many little tiny puddles their socks are gonna soak up? It's infuriating. Oh my god, I could not live with her. Just get ice puddles everywhere.
This is somewhat of an aside, but I pulled it up on my phone because I'm such a great multitasker. Instead of actually doing what's important and pulling up stuff for the show, I did. So I found out where I read that Starship Troopers, where he directed it nude. It's on Wikipedia. I don't know.
Oh. Okay.
I don't know what else is past that, but the crew asked him and the cinematographer to do it naked, and they did. Apparently.
Okay.
To like
completely completely changes the
It's
context.
not like he's like,
I
come
can
on,
see a
everybody,
group
pull your dick out. You know. Like,
well, no, or like even I guess.
I just wanted to prove I wasn't losing my mind to the visitors at home. I did read it somewhere, so I didn't just make it up. But it's Wikipedia, so who the fuck knows?
Right. I mean, I don't know. Yeah,
but anyway,
I'm
this I don't know. The more I think about this movie, the more I like it, though, because I do.
My biggest thing with the things we're like commenting are kind of like nitpicky. But
Yeah.
my one thing about it, which is just, I'm not really into thrillers that much. Now that I think of it, 'cause
You
it's
picked
like,
Thriller Month.
Thrillers are fun. No, I like them. I'm glad that I'm doing this. I love broadening my horizon. Broadening my horizon.
Yeah, sure.
And thrillers are something that I guess I just never go with, because they have such a lull. It doesn't matter, man. Every single time, because like with Vertigo, there just was a point where I'm like, okay, we're following too much. That's in my notes. I said this following type of thriller it's just too slow for me.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I love slow burns, dude. Like White Ribbon is like one of the greatest things ever. It's like I love fucking a movie where they just talk and it's like really poignant. Like Tape is amazing, and that's not like
that's not
crazy
even
thriller.
It's not even
crazy
a slow
action.
burn. Yeah, I see what you're
kind
saying.
Of following. They did that in this, where it's like the investigation part, and it's typically towards the end, and this, like the end of the second act, because it's like that's kind of that. There's that like 12 minutes they need to fill up.
All
you
films,
know?
dude, like they come down to that. You know, second half of the second act is the fucking. They got to get past that to get to the third act and get to the climax.
And there's always supposed to be something like kind of switching up, and I think they just like threw a sex scene in there again, and I don't know. I'm like, it just kind of like sex is really important in this movie, and it does.
It was starting to kind of like
for the story, but I just noticed the fall. There was like I just noticed he was doing so much.
I was feeling that too, and then they swooped in with the car chase scene, which was like. Because right before that I was like, yeah, all right, and then he's got his partner, and his partner's like, you're too crazy about the pussy, Nikki, and he's all drunk and cowboy.
yeah.
And I'm
just a city cowboy.
I'm one of them San Francisco cowboys. I'm like, all right, buddy.
Right. Yeah, well, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
There's no, San Francisco doesn't have land. But anyways, it's like then him getting hit by like and it's cool because. The whole time, or at least, the whole point of the movie was for you to expect that it was like Sharon Stone's like lover, her girlfriend,
right?
That Roxy, whatever,
right?
That does end up like chasing him,
and she had killed two people in her past, and so
right, and it like, and I did like the chase scene. As much as chase scenes are fine, but it was like the aftermath was really cool because it's just like him there, and they're like, oh man, it really was like building where you're like, oh, Michael Douglas is like getting fucked, dude. You're like, oh man, and everyone like is like kind of now they're against him even more, which
Well, I see your point though, because it's like thrillers.
That's really my only gripe.
Thrillers are generally probably my favorite genre, but these last couple that we've watched have fallen into like a very specific subcategory. They're thrillers, but they're also like neo-noirs, kind of like this vibe where it's like an investigative type thriller.
I love noirs though. I don't know.
Well, no, it's like this. It's because what informed my my mind of growing up what a thriller was. It was like Seven. It's very much. It's still investigative, but it's like this darker, grimier, like serial killer or like Silence of the Lambs, like those. Cape Fear, like all these ones, they have like this, like I don't know. It's hard to differentiate the two, but there is a difference. between these types of thrillers, because it's like you watch a movie like that or a movie like Denis Villeneuve's like Prisoners, which is still similar vibes, but those have like a different type of undercurrent to them that's, I guess, maybe more horror adjacent, or like the horrors of real life.
Well, horrors are real,
like these,
and I think they're more character studies. Like, I don't know. Yeah, they're more, because it's like every time there wasn't a dialogue scene in this movie, I was kind of like, all right, where are we getting? Like, when are we going to get to another character? Because whenever there was character development, it was great. I loved the dialogue and the interactions between people, and it's like, that was really fun. But then like the investigation part and driving around, I don't know. It was weird. It's like, it's very small. I didn't really notice it until like the lull of all movies ever, because it's like,
yeah, I probably only noticed it because I kept kind of comparing it to Vertigo.
Oh, dude, totally. The whole literally I put freaking San Francisco like my notes, like that's it. Are you okay?
Yeah, I should really just look at my camera. I hate facing this way away from my door because I can't see my door. So I'm gonna get a mirror installed up here, like a
we'll make a
mirror so I can see my door.
Get one of those, dude. Yeah, get one of those circle mirrors.
Yeah.
I freaking if I see someone coming in, I'll tell you. I'll be like,
yeah, thank you.
Look out!
They're right behind you.
Yeah,
I'm living a thriller. Anyway, I don't know. This I feel like the scene that unfortunately I feel like got rushed past because I'm still kind of hung up on it. So it's like at the end of the third act with the ice pick reveal just to show you, but it's like if they would have focused more on the scene before he goes and sees his partner get murdered, where he sees her printing out the book, because that's what sets him off, right? Because she's printing the book and it has what's going to happen. His partner gets murdered and he runs upstairs to the top of the thing. And so it's like he's like realizes while he's waiting in the car when his buddy goes up and he's like, oh shit, and he goes up and it actually all comes out. Like that's more of an indication that she had plotted the whole thing and planned it more so.
Yeah.
That I wish they would have like focused on that or did it backwards somehow, where it's like, she's like, hey, I got my book printed the other day at the very end, and it's like,
No, I was expecting the book to be that like that catalyst. Yeah. I did expect that when I was watching this, because the whole time I was like, I love the fact that she's basically an O.J. Simpson, and she's like writing the book about her doing the murders, and it's like great that she.
Well, and it's a cool idea that she writes them before she commits the murder, which is like
right.
It's cool because it's like also like an extra challenge to like commit the perfect murder, but that's why I'm like the whole ice pick thing rubs me weird, is because it's like she's so caught up with this weird mind game of like committing the perfect murder and getting away with it that it's just like. Her charm and charisma is only going to get her so far if she ice picks him to death at the end of the movie with her fancy ice pick. That ain't no Kmark ice pick, buddy.
That wasn't.
Yeah. That was like a fancy.
It had metal. Yeah, it was like.
Yeah. So, but I'm going to invest in ice picks now. Is the long story short. So I'm gonna get. I'm throwing away my ice cube trays.
do it. Yeah, I'll buy you a nice
ice pick.
Buy a nice ice pick. I wonder if you can buy. I bet you can buy a replica ice pick. Let's go.
I could go buy a real ice pick. Ice picks are still a thing.
No. I'm just saying, buy the one from the movie.
Yeah.
Her fancy one.
Well, and that one is oddly, for a split second since this movie, so, because every scene, it's like, you can definitely tell this movie was written by a man, and I'm really glad. Sure. I'm really glad that Sharon Stone really fucking brings it to the limit.
Yeah. No, it was great.
But it's just like so like. I know, it's just, I don't know. It's like, yeah, I like to fuck and I like to do coke too. And every other scene is like, if they're not having sex or talking about sex, then they're talking about jacking off, or they're talking about coming in their pants or something. And so it's always just there. Even like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know if people talk like this, but that's what gave it that whole. They don't, but that's what. This movie's not like my suspension of disbelief was. Quickly brought me up to it. I wasn't like, it's so not realistic. It's just
there were a few meta moments, and I forgot to write them down because when I saw that there's a time when they're driving in the car, like the first time he meets her and she's smoking and they're going down to the station. She talks about that like suspension of disbelief and like
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
you know what?
And
She's
he's
like
yeah,
she's an author.
suspension
And
of disbelief. I like that word. You know.
right. And I was like, oh, that's kind of fun. That's like it is. I like when like a movie kind of just winks at the meta, and it's like, oh, like, you know, this is what we're doing right now. We're creating something that's,
right.
you know.
Speaking of that,
these characters have to make it believable.
I almost forgot. Like one of the only is almost like kind of laughable now that I'm thinking about it. But the one of the following scenes, like somewhat earlier on, when they're like, when he's following her through the canyon, and she's just swerving in and out of traffic like a goddamn psychopath.
I was laughing so hard because I'm like, that's like I get who her character is supposed to be. Like she's rushed and she's like she takes her life in her own hands. Like she's super like, you know, intense.
That's like a full on Grand Theft Auto running from the cops.
Like she drove like that every day. Like it wasn't like she didn't. I don't know if she knew she was being followed. I think she just drove like that all the. It made me so nervous.
I know.
I was so like concerned because I was like, she's driving like a crazy person.
Well, I do feel like the screenwriter too was just like, and then he follows her and he's like, "Fuck, that's boring again. I can't just have her follow her." And what if she's just swerving in and out of traffic for like 10 minutes, and he can't keep up with her, and he almost gets ran off the road, and suddenly it's a scene from Duel. And, and
I know, yeah.
I just think it's funny because it's like, yeah, that's not a boring following scene, sir.
No, it's not.
Well, it's just silly because it's just like I don't know why. I don't know, but I'm just like watching it. Me and Mary were like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck? And it's like this road's so trafficky too. This like curvy road. I know it's like those California roads are like that, but
right.
So,
but no, it definitely was like I was like she drives like this all the time. I was so like,
well, that's
like, oh God.
That car I almost wish was on it just a little bit more because it's like it was really menacing when she was in it, and then later when you find out Roxy was in it, not her.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's so fast and like because it's one of the few times it's believable when like she whips it around and almost runs him over like 3 times in the parking lot. Like he really does try to avoid her. He's not like, I'm gonna get hit by a car because so many movies do like, just jump to the side, don't run straight forward, you fucking idiot. But in this one, it's just like really felt believable because it's such a fast little agile little car, and the way it just like whipped around, it's like, oh God, yeah, that thing is dangerous, man.
You know what's cool? What is it, Michael Douglas?
I know. I was saying Kirk Douglas too. I'm like his. I was like, I don't know what it is with the Douglases. They always like as soon as they hit like 20, they look 50.
Yeah. Oh, dude. No, this totally had that all over it. Where I'm like, Sharon Stone is a lot more attractive than Michael Douglas. But anyways, they
should have been James Stewart. Just saying.
He did all his. I think he
Michael Douglas. Yeah, Michael Douglas like looks a little bit more like a beef jerky man to me.
Yeah,
but, I mean, he hangs dong, so it's fine.
That's pretty impressive.
You get a little dong. You get a good dong shot.
He does all his own stunts, his own driving and stuff, and his own hits and stuff. So I was like, that's pretty cool.
There's some pretty dude. Fun. He got nailed by that car.
Dude, I love it because it, like you said, that impact was real. Like it is kind of like he does try to get out of the way, but when he gets hit, he's clipped. Like he's fucking. And it's not like a movie where he knows he's gonna get hit. He like it looks like he just like
he gets hit, and it's like enough to really like not seriously hurt you, but enough to really ring your bell.
But that's like.
And so
when he gets in the car, and he's
really like, he's like, oh shit, shaking it off, and it's like, buddy, you're a little shook up.
Yeah, pal.
And I think that's what I felt like the writer. I saw his name and I thought it was an interesting name, but it's very much like seems like as much as they talk about doing tons of coke, and don't even get me started on the going to the dance club scene with like how they dance on coke.
No, the dance
I feel like the writer was like, okay, this is starting to lull. We need some. Okay, now we got to get some action in here, buddy. You know, and then like this car flies out of nowhere. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I just I'm sad. I wish I could know what, because I was watching it and just laughing at the dance scene, and I'm like, I guess maybe that's what coke of the early '90s was like. I don't know.
That's true. Yeah.
Because they're like they look like they're in an aerobics class. They're like. Like it's a competition, and I'm like, no, aren't we having fun? It's not too much.
No, they weren't. Well, she's intense, dude. and she's like, you know.
I've never done it myself, but I've been around people who have indulged in cocaine.
Yeah, I've been told about it in great detail on what it's like.
I've never seen anyone like maybe they won't shut up talking, but I've never seen anyone be like, yeah, this fucking dance, man. Like,
yeah, I mean, we didn't hang out in the dance scene, dude. We don't really know.
that is true. I know.
Yeah.
And Michael Douglas's V-neck and that. It's just,
yeah,
that place was cool though.
He's off duty.
That was a cool.
It was really cool.
The
bathroom was sick.
I know. I wish there was more scenes like that, because they had two where they went to that dance club and then he went to the honky tonk like type of club where they have the live music, and his buddy was there later. And I'm like, I like going to these I like those scenes in movies where they like go to this like super crowded, super busy, super loud place, because automatically in this kind of movie, you're automatically kind of on edge because there's like a lot of places for danger to hide.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's just like, and it was like seeing the versatility of the city and stuff. I kind of wanted more of that. I understand why they didn't, though. It's not a dance movie, but it should have been.
Right.
So, anyway,
dude, I actually, now we're thinking about it, it is kind of interesting. The ending, like, Michael Douglas is kind of stupid. It's like when he shoots his like lover.
He's way stupid. He's
yeah, it's like just the keys.
He's a useful idiot, dude, for sure.
Yeah, and then like he really was like just distracted by like the idea of being with Sharon Stone. And I always love those movies too where they show somebody who is hyper intense, like everything they do is really intense, and he's lured into it. And then even, you know, he does like the, you know, what do we do now? We have, you know, we fuck a ton, fuck like minks, you know, settle down, have some Rugrats. He's like, forget the Rugrats, we'll just have sex. And I'm like, you can't keep this up, Michael Douglas. You're gonna like have a heart attack.
He's already having a pop Viagra.
Guaranteed.
Doing too much blow.
No, dude, it's sponged and bruised, dude. No porn star out there is like, yeah, just keep it erect.
Well, I know, and it's like she really grinds too, which it's just
some of it
out. It's a grind, like it's gonna come out and bend, you know, like right. For sure. It's gonna.
We need to put a disclaimer at the beginning of this episode. It's like,
if you're a child listening to this,
children.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, right. I mean, if you're a child listening to this, awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Don't tell your mom. But oh shoot, I was gonna say something else about.
No, do tell your mom, please. We're trying to spread the awareness of this.
I don't know, man.
I distracted you. Sorry, but the sex scenes in this were wild.
Michael
to me.
Douglas,
they were like fun. It was like choreography.
To give him credit, the scene in the climax, like he did fine. He was just kind of like an angry, bumbling idiot kind of throughout the thing, which is fine. It's his character. It's no problem. But the scene at the very climax, after, you know, his buddy dies in the elevator, and then like this whole time, it's pretty intense. With the doctor comes out, and it's like, you suspect her. At least most of the way. Right. He suspects her, and the way he just like, get your hands out of there, like that acting there is pretty on point. Like he definitely seemed real. Again, call back to last week's episode of Vertigo. It's like that climactic scene when the man becomes unhinged. Is definitely the moment in this one too. And then shoots her,
and it works well,
and that
because he is a shooter. That's what he's done.
Well, and
that's
like, what's beautiful.
Like,
it's like at someone that was like he thought was guilty, and then she didn't have anything. I didn't have a weapon, it turns out. But her, that was one of the best like squib shots I've seen in a while. Like a good reaction, because it's like you really felt the impact of the violence, and she looked genuinely surprised by it. Like it's like, ooh, like she falls back and like gets shot in such a way that just seems super believable. Like she's really just like, oh, what the fuck, and like just hurt, and all of a sudden, I don't know. It just seemed really real and kind of shocking, and then she's dead. You know.
And she does die. There's always there is the one thing about deaths in movies though, when they get like the last word. Like clearly, I understand. Like,
or
there's no way.
The gentle eyes.
The gentle eye, and she's like, I loved you.
Yeah.
Like it's too perfect. I'm like, in real life, she could get shot, and she probably like where she got shot. I would assume that she would be like, oh.
I know.
I don't think you.
She
I don't
dies
think you,
on the ride to the hospital.
I loved you. Oh. Close your eyes. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot more.
Well, I think
like I get like a deep paper cut, and I'm like, God, I did it now. I did it now. Like I'm not contemplating
honestly,
love everyone.
That's a good point, because I think those two shots sum up the vibe of the movie for me, where it's like one shot of like really aggressive, really realistic, sudden, shocking violence, followed by like somewhat silly, melodramatic, pushed to the edges of like
TV or movie magic.
yeah,
style.
literally. So
Yeah,
it's like
right.
the two
Suspension of disbelief.
the dichotomy of like the two types of vibes that this movie has going for it. Which once I fully committed to that, I was all for. You know what I mean? But anyway,
I'm just sad this movie didn't have a RoboCop. RoboCop's beautiful. Go listen to that podcast.
See, now I want
like-
to do Starship Troopers one because that's mine.
I know,
we've done
we should.
RoboCop.
We should.
We've
I love
done
RoboCop so
this.
much.
We've done Total Recall. So now it's like,
Dude.
now we
Yeah,
got
so
to do Starship
Troopers.
Troopers.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, it's like, dude. But I just in Starship Troopers, or I mean in RoboCop, like that freaky mutant thing, dude. Like he didn't do that in this movie. There was nothing like there was no like genre change necessarily. Like this stayed pretty just noir, thriller noir.
Yeah.
There was nothing like nothing. I think it's because probably just it's to us it's like extreme like sexual violence and like all it's like hyper violent and stuff like that. So that's probably just enough of like a genre. They didn't need to switch
He
anything.
does
but I just
usually have a
love
moment that goes like really kind of a weird,
really wild.
like weird place for just a second and then comes back from it.
Yeah. But
Like
I do have
also
to-
with RoboCop with like him getting all the radioactive sludge on him and everything. Like
That's so beautiful, dude.
it's like that's a horror movie, man. Like that's,
It is a horror, yeah. But in this movie, Wayne Knight, when he's like, "Are you into sadomasochistic stuff?"
fucking.
And she's like, "Oh, what do you mean?" I'm just like, and then it's like the most intensity of the sex is nothing. It's them just grinding. I don't know that she like the scarf. They use like one scarf to tie him up for like 30 seconds. I don't
There's
know.
other. I know. I've seen
but yeah,
other
it is-
films that like delge into like the dark criminal underside of like sexual fantasy and like pushing things to the limit and stuff. And I thought this movie was going to go that route.
Yeah.
But and it's like I guess for your average vanilla viewer, it's like wow, they really are scrumping quite hard. But
dude, totally.
but other than that, it's like there wasn't really like it is. I was expecting like Videodrome or something where she's
Right, right.
pierces him while they're banging, and it's
yeah. Like
and
the
honestly,
scratching kind of
yeah.
worked a little bit, and that was to me. I'm like, oh, okay, we're getting somewhere now.
I was-
and then there was
yeah.
no blood on the sheets or
like
anything
I
because
kept
when she scratched
expecting
him
it to
and then
build up like
she gave him angel wings, flipped him over, and I was like, oh my god, there's gonna be so much blood, and then there was no blood, but it's okay.
I know. I kept expecting it to escalate where it's like, what if we just like brought a knife in for a minute? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But I
I'm
mean,
like, sadomasochistic, like.
well, it's funny because I was actually thinking of another movie during this because I was kind of on the erotic thriller mindset, and I haven't seen as many as I'd like to, and unfortunately, I think that's a genre that's kind of came and went. But I was thinking about David Cronenberg's Crash. Which is also like a hypersexual kind of weird, violent movie that I do quite enjoy, but I kind of almost was expecting some of it to go down that route because Cronenberg does that too, but he doesn't
Cronenberg does that.
he doesn't lean full into. I don't know. His sexual things are
I
more
think-
like
I think his
inserting
are
things
more
into your weird orifice in your chest.
I think he's more intense because he goes to the body horror side of it.
100%.
He takes sex and he makes it like friggin' supernatural, or he makes it like unnatural. Where this gets a lot of flack because it's nothing.
These movies are like
weird.
metaphors for sex, where this movie is just like has sex in it as a plot device. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And they both
So
stand up well. And
anyway,
I like this. Do you have any?
Yeah,
credits?
we're 50 minutes deep.
We're going. Yeah, we're reaching
Responsible Bat 658 says loved the ending, just loved it. The whole movie rides that line between suspense and camp, but the plot and performances are solid. Laughed so hard at the last frame when the ice picks under the bed reveals Michael Douglas shot the wrong woman and is in bed with the killer, totally unaware. Verhoeven rules. Yes, very nice. Thank you.
Oh, hell yeah, thanks. That's great. Dude, I loved when he shoots the psychiatrist. I gasped. I was like, oh fuck! I totally did not think he was gonna shoot her.
No, me neither.
Yeah.
That's why it was
That's
shocking, and her reaction was on point. I really liked it. And then Moron 14 says, saw it at the ripe age of 16, so it made an impact. The dance club scene in particular stood out as a scene meant to rearrange expectations. And I think that's interesting because I didn't even really think because the dance club scene seemed really weird to me, but it's just because he seemed so out of place there.
Well, and I think that was to,
that's kind
to
of
get him into the fold, right?
Sure,
You
yeah,
know?
sure is the
Yeah.
point, and it's them all doing coke in the bathroom stall, and she's like, "Oh, hey, welcome to my world." You know what I mean? Is definitely what it is.
Yeah, right.
It was a lot of fun though. So yeah, thanks for commenting, fellas. See, I went and commented too, and that's what I did today with my entire day. I'm just kidding, but because I haven't done that in a while, we got to start doing that more. But
I know. Yeah. We'll have more time here.
responding to those. So
Well,
anyway,
in October we'll have more time.
yeah, tons of time. Yeah. So while I pull up, did Travis leave a voicemail?
Yeah. He sure did. Yeah.
While I pull his up, do you got a money minute for me?
I sure do, bud. This is deep into Verhoeven's career, so he got 50 mil for this one.
Nice.
And it blew. I mean, dude, clearly sex sells. I mean, that's clear.
Well, I remember this movie being quite popular, and I feel like the erotic filler because Thriller, the other movies that were on the list were like, a Body Heat, Body Double. Like it was definitely the early '90s were definitely like an era for that, and I feel like this kind of helped kick that off. That short little period of like those. So yeah, what did it make? Sorry,
it grossed 352.
Holy shit! Dang.
So
that's pretty good, bud.
It's a big boy, yeah, man. It like brought in some
good for him because he is at the. Have you ever seen Showgirls? It's another Verhoeven of the era. I remember seeing that when I was way too young, so I kind of want to go back and watch it because I just remember being like, because it's like NC-17.
Oh, nice.
And
I remember Starship Troopers was I saw that when I was what is that, 8?
Same.
I was 8 years old or something when it came. It was like I saw it like not
Starship
8 or 9 years
Troopers
old. I was totally not ready for that. Yeah. Because like it was
Starship Troopers is horrifically violent, but like now.
Yeah.
Now watching
fun,
it still is horrifically violent, but now it's like I also just think it's a great sci-fi movie and one of the best political satires of all time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like me some Paul. I want to watch one of his newer movies, which is actually on the Plex, is Ellie or whatever. It's,
yeah. I want to see whatever Vendetta or whatever.
Yeah. So anyway, I got Travis's here. Let's see if you can hear it.
Yeah. Pop it on up.
If you can hear it or not. My phone is on its last leg, so it can't decide. Oh, dude, this thing is shattered to bits. I'm surprised it works. So
still haven't got a new one, huh?
I'm milking it to the very end. I don't really care. I'm gonna downgrade. I think probably. I don't really care about my phone that much. So
yeah, that's cool.
As long as I could get on Reddit and take pictures with it, I don't really care. So all right, you ready?
Hey guys, Basic Instinct was a good mystery movie. Besides the intimacy scenes, what separates this movie from others in the genre was a small amount of possible suspects. It was fun trying to solve the case, going from 2 suspects to 1, then back to 2, then again to 1. I also have to give props to the thrilling car chase scene on the curvy roadway. I'm not sure if it's because we just watched Vertigo, but it was hard not to see the similarities between the two movies. For example, the scenic San Francisco shots and Detective Nick's staircase in his building reminded me of the staircase in the church in Vertigo. Even Sharon Stone and Kim Novak look alike. Did you guys notice any other similarities between the two movies? Thanks.
Thanks,
Dude,
Travis.
Yeah, Travis.
All the following. I'm glad you're on the
Perfect.
brain with us because you are the third person on the planet who watched Vertigo and then this back to back.
Yeah,
So
right. Like
it's
you're on the pulse, man. It's like it's cool. I agree with everything you said. I totally and it's like just like in Vertigo, I feel like Kim Novak takes more of the scenes she's in. Her acting is like better than Jim Stewart. So I liked her more in that. Watching this, I'm like, God, it like.
It really did like
they gave them their room to work,
Well, the main male protagonists in both these movies are just kind of like your generic villain kind of guy. Like they have, they have motivations and stuff, but they're pretty shallow compared to the female main, and antagonists in these cases. who are far more interesting, far more three-dimensional characters. But no, I agree, Travis, about the. You start off being like, oh, she's a killer. How'd she do it? And then you slowly like, well, maybe it was this other chick. And then, oh, there's other people. Like, it could be like the suspects. Like, I like how it like, it really does kind of keep you guessing, because my assurance that she was the killer faltered quite a bit here and there. So when it came full back around, I felt pretty good about it, because I was like, earlier on, we brought this up at the beginning of the episode. We never really talked about it. How we're like, oh, she's the psychiatrist is the killer. Called it, early on. Right. Mine was because it was like, oh, she's got that kind of mousy face, which you don't really see very good at the beginning. But also, I'm like, oh, they go out of our way to show her so specifically as the only character with brown hair, as like it couldn't be her. You know what I mean? It's like, and so in movies where it's like, oh, it can't be her, so therefore obviously it is. Like, puts the suspicion on her. But then obviously there's a lot of other reasons to suspect her as the story develops. Which is pretty on point. Which leads me to believe, because it's not wrapped up in a nice little bow. I mean, that shot of the ice pick is just being like, it was her, and then obviously the close to the book. But it's like, you can't even completely discount the idea, because the psychiatrist dies, that she may have had some involvement. You don't know.
Exactly. And that's where I think that she does manipulate people to get them to be accomplices in what she does. Because it's like with that older woman that she visits, that has committed murders. It's like every life that she's wrapped in with, murder happens. It's like, it almost seems like too coincidental that like murder will happen around her. She's very manipulative. Like it's almost like her mind games got Michael Douglas to shoot the psychiatrist,
and she hides.
A little bit.
She hides
with
in
Roxy
all
too.
It's great, because it's like she puts herself among all these murders. So when a murder, like someone dies around her, it's like not as suspicious onto her, because she's surrounded. She like hides amongst it. It's pretty good. She's. I think she's kind of a great villain, because it goes back, thinking back on it now, thinking like the psychiatrist. Who comes in and does like the study on her and is like, whoever you're dealing with is a deeply disturbed individual and highly dangerous and calculating. And it's like, yeah, man, because it's like if you find out all that shit she did and she pulled that off, she's a fucking psycho and a genius one at that. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
So anyway, what was your favorite part?
God, I don't know, man. The interrogation scenes were really cool.
Yeah.
Like every time somebody, and dude, oh my God, Sharon Stone's interrogation, she's smoking the cigarette, and she's like, "What do you do? Write me up for smoking?" Pop, 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 pop. And then later, Michael Douglas does it, and like he does it just like her, and that's where I'm like, oh my God, that's like where manipulation is being really, really heavily played.
That
here.
happens a couple times where he'll like repeat something that she said, and it shows a really good way of how she's rubbing off on him. But
I think anytime Sharon Stone is in a scene, I love it.
100%. There's a reason why that scene's so famous. The first interrogation scene is so fucking good.
It's so good. I'm kind of like, I'm upset that like the hypersexuality in this movie is what gave it its $350 million budget.
It's a lot of what gross. It's a lot of what's remembered for that. You know what I mean? But it's just like.
And clearly, it's like it functions as its storytelling. But I guess I find like gratuitous sex is fine. I'm not prudent at all. I'm just like, as long as there's a good story that this movie had.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it served a purpose in this movie, but like we said, it's like at that point, it should have just went further with it.
That's right. Yeah, but it's just that scene is so fucking well acted by everybody involved. Do you know what's a fun little side note? Wayne Knight got casted in Jurassic Park because of that performance.
Really?
Steven Spielberg saw the movie and waited till the end credits and got his name and asked his like agent like, who this is and like work through the network to get
Nice.
audition with him.
Yeah,
So
he
it's
did-
like, I'm like, that's pretty
He
cool.
did
'cause,
good. Well, this
dude,
is like the
yeah.
most normal I've ever seen him play a role. So
right, it did, yeah.
I've been
It was, like,
rewatching
everybody.
Seinfeld lately, so I literally was like Newman.
I know Newman. Right? It's hard to like separate that.
It is.
Even his character in Jurassic Park is like completely different and kind of comical.
Yeah.
But anyways, it like that
But-
that whole scene is
The way
is-
it's shot, it's the first time in the movie too where I mean like it does it a little bit before, but it's pretty traditionally shot. It's got enough movement to the camera work that it feels lively when it needs to be, and it's pretty static when it also needs to be. But that scene was like fucking Martin Scorsese was up in there. The camera was like fucking whipping around. It was like tracking
there's-
in. It was like
yeah,
cutting super fast.
There's a part where the three of them are sitting there, and he goes, "So what were you thinking about?" And they like all swivel in their chair, and
And it,
the
like,
camera
whips.
pulls out.
Yeah,
Love it, dude.
it's awesome.
It was great.
And honestly, that crotch scene that's like so famous, you know, that everyone, it's like you don't see much, but it's just like the point of it. It's such a fucking power move, dude.
It's a power move, man. No,
It's-
it really-
I was literally
it,
like, God damn, this chick is on, like in this room full of all these
she's-
dudes. She's just like, whatever, bitch. Like,
Well, and it's like, yeah, she does it. It's so cool. It's like she like fucking knows. She's like so manipulative, and she knows like every. That's how come every scene she's in, she knows how to navigate. She knows how to be in charge, and let people think that they're in charge while she's like taking over the scene. Like it's great.
Yeah, it's on point for sure. So
I'm like, I'm gonna go through and look
that
at
scene. I mean, I
Time.
like the whole movie, but that scene, I literally was like, okay, I get it. Like it felt like fast and riveting, and like it was literally when they say earlier he says something along the lines of like, what she's gonna say, you know, exactly like, why would I write a book that I killed someone and when I would know that would put the suspect on me, and then she like literally that's another scene. That's like a flip of the scene that happens later where she repeats it pretty much exactly as he said it. And it's just like, it's like zooms in on her like, yeah, see? It's like, duh.
Right.
It's good. So it's a fun movie. I want to watch more movies of this genre because I do enjoy it. I want to go back and watch that Brian De Palma one that I put on the thing, the Body Double, because it's like got a similar vibe I hear. So yeah. That's
cool.
It's
Yeah,
Basic
it's fun.
Instinct. More Verhoeven, please.
Right. I mean, well, it's so funny how like we've watched a lot of. It's like I don't even realize
He's
we've
one of
watched
the
a lot his
guys.
movies
He's one
for
of
this.
like. He's definitely got to be one of my favorite directors, like up there. But I
yeah.
always kind of forget about him. You know
Dude,
what I mean?
totally,
Like I
totally.
always am like when I'm thinking of like my favorite filmmakers. He for some reason I always forget about him, and which is kind of a shame. And it's weird because he does have. I guess it's because his movies are genre wise, like they have his fingerprints all over them, but the genre is all over.
It's cool.
God, like Hollow Man. Have you seen Hollow Man?
I know. Hollow Man's amazing.
I fucking love. A lot of people shit on Hollow Man, but Hollow Man's awesome.
I think see it again because I watched it when it came out in theaters. I remember seeing it in theaters and being like, "Whoa, what the fuck," you know? And then like I watched it maybe 2010 or something, and I was like, okay, this is sick. It still holds up. Yeah.
I watched it right after the 2020 Invisible Man.
Oh, dude.
And-
okay, cool. How would they compare?
And I was like, I liked Invisible Man. I like Lee Winnell's Invisible Man. It was pretty solid.
Yeah.
But I watched Hollow Man, and I'm like, this movie fucking rocks. This is the
Yeah.
best. I'm pretty sure it's on my letterbox somewhere. And I was like, this is the best The Invisible Man story, man. It's
Invisible,
awesome.
yeah, right. I love Invisible Man stuff.
Me too.
That's great.
Let's watch Hollow Man in Horrortober.
Okay, fuck yeah, dude. I have my list going right now for Horrortober.
I'm gonna post on it tomorrow.
Okay. Oh, okay. Dope. I can put mine down. So everybody out there in the world,
This will be
we're
coming
gonna
out
have our
at the
list
same
up.
time. Go
Yeah,
to the
it'll
Reddit.
be-
It should be up
Yep.
when this comes
Go to
out.
r/coldest of knowledge. You can go and you can,
I'm also going to put
Leave
up
your-
the previous
leave your-
2 years so we don't get a lot. Hopefully, I mean, people won't read them, but
Yeah.
hopefully we don't get as many repeats because
But-
we have watched 60 movies previously that are probably going to re-pop up. Like, you know.
Which is just fine though. Give us your whole list. I don't care if
Yeah,
it's
give us
repeat.
anything.
But I understand.
I don't
It's
care.
like
We
we
just won't
just
pick it,
just-
but I
just
wanna know. Yeah.
exactly. Just know if you do put a repeat, put some more. There is no. You could put 30 movies on. It doesn't
Fuck it.
matter.
Yeah, fuck
we
it.
just want your movie list.
What's one
your
you want to
favorite
watch?
horrors.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. But dude, and know what's wild? This is so back on topic with this month. were doing thrillers, and you posted the poll on the Reddit, and it was cutthroat,
neck
baby,
and neck.
neck and neck. And you know what? I'm actually. Oh no, that makes sense. I think Panic Room and Hard Candy are probably the most popular movies on there. I'm surprised like Insomnia and Bully got some votes.
I know. What did you vote for?
I voted Hard Candy.
Did you see? I voted Bully. I know Bully was never gonna win. I just like. I love that movie. It's super underrated, but
I did it so that I want Victoria to watch it because I think she'd like it, and so
Bully or Hard Candy?
Yeah, Hard Candy.
Well, let's
I don't
watch
think
it.
she'd like Bully. I want to watch Bully, but
Let's watch. I mean, I'll watch Hard Candy again. I think it's great.
Wait, we are watching it.
No, Panic Room won.
Oh, by one. Oh, I'm so duh. Oh, it did.
Yeah, Panic
Oh,
Room.
okay.
Won.
Well, I'll watch Hard Candy.
I'll watch it
with
too.
everybody.
If you wanted to maybe we'll do a
Panic Room-
bonus or something.
Okay, cool. But yeah, Panic Room, dude, is sick, and so
I watched this kind of recently. I wasn't sure what was going to win. I thought Insomnia would get more love because it's I feel like that's Christopher Nolan's like underrated one. That's Christopher Nolan, for crying out loud.
yeah, but
He's a household fucking name.
Yeah,
More
it's
than
wild, actually.
Larry Clark. So David Slade directed Hard Candy, and then whoever directed Snowtown, which we're watching in Horrortober too. So we're watching like 100 movies in Horrortober. So just so you know,
we legitimately do not have enough time for all the movies we want to watch.
Snowtown is horrific, dude. It's a true story of a serial killer, and it's a brutal movie.
God, Snowtown. Oh yeah. I remember that. I did not see it.
It's good. I want to watch it again.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll
All
watch
right,
it.
man.
Anyway.
Okay,
So we're watching Panic Room officially,
Room.
but also feel free to watch because it was close. It was neck and neck.
Yeah. Well, no. Now I'm like.
Well,
yeah.
when was the last
I mean,
time
I'll
you
watch-
watched Panic Room? Because you said it'd been a long time.
Oh, since 2002.
Yeah.
Since 2003. Yeah.
Yeah,
when it came
it's
out.
better than I remember. I watched it a few years back, so
Yeah.
cool. But it's a nice tight movie too, and I'm how I feel about my boy Fincher. So,
Oh yeah. Well, and this is his Panic Room. So
Yes, it is.
Mink is his Panic Room. So
Well,
yeah.
it makes his Panic Room. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll get into that next week.
We will. Oh, and everybody out there, patrons, you rock. We're gonna this year we're gonna try to get some stuff. In November, I'm gonna have a lot of free time, and so Levi and I will get together and we'll kind of
Oh, for sure.
put some stuff together, clean it up. We want everyone to be happy out there. We love you, patrons. You know who you are. You're beautiful.
You're beautiful.
If you want to be like Travis, who's dope on a rope, he calls in. You can do that by dialing your phone number with 801-613-1501. That's the phone number. You can call it. Let us know.
All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. Check out all the things. Pay attention to the Reddit. We're, get another poll up. We're gonna get all the Halloween movies up. All that. We'll get that going soon. So
I'm
already
like,
watching horror movies.
I'm already.
I watched
watched
Monster House today. I know you watched.
I watch
Puppet
horror.
Master.
Oh, dude, Puppet Master, baby.
It's true.
But I watch horror every day.
I know it's true. But I'm ready. Okay. Goodbye.
Alrighty. Good night.